Welcome to Dark Files Crime Stories, the channel where real crime meets the cold truth. Here, we dive deep into the most disturbing true crime cases the media tried to forget, raw, detailed, and unfiltered. If you're passionate about real investigations, mysterious disappearances, and shocking confessions, you're in the right place. Take a second to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and like this video to support real storytelling that keeps the truth alive. Let's open today's file and uncover the darkness behind the case. In April 2024, police in Dayton, Ohio, are dispatched to a quiet neighborhood after reports of an unthinkable tragedy. A frantic 911 call leads them to a modest boarding house. The caller, hysterical, can barely speak. Inside, chaos reigns. A teenage girl lies motionless on the floor, a gun nearby, and a desperate father repeating, "She's not dead, she's not dead." 16-year-old Kendra Farler has been shot in the chest. The voice crying out belongs to her father, 38-year-old Kenneth Paul Farler III. He insists it was an accident, that his stepson, a 12-year-old boy with severe autism, was holding the gun and didn't know what he was doing. The medics rush to save Kendra's life, but the scene is grim. The family's screams echo through the cramped apartment as paramedics perform CPR, their faces heavy with the knowledge that the odds are already against her. Within minutes, Kendra is pronounced dead. The Dayton police begin to piece together what happened. The Farler family's home is small and crowded. Kendra lived there with her father, his new wife Jennifer, 2 sisters, 2 brothers, and her autistic stepbrother Wyatt. Her biological mother had died 2 years earlier from a drug overdose. Kenneth, her father, has a long criminal history: drug trafficking, assault, burglary. He's on probation and has done prison time. Yet he's been trying to rebuild his life, at least on the surface. His social media posts show family dinners, laughter, and love. But behind closed doors, the truth was much darker. The family lived in a home owned by Kenneth's late wife's brother, Greg Sampson. Greg also lived in the same building. On the surface, he was just the quiet landlord, a man who stayed out of trouble. But that house, already strained by poverty and overcrowding, became a pressure cooker of tension and instability. And on April 14, 2024, everything finally exploded. At 12:20 p.m., Jennifer calls 911, sobbing incoherently. When the dispatcher asks who pulled the trigger, she can't bring herself to answer. Moments later, first responders arrive. The body cam footage shows officers rushing up the stairs, weapons drawn, voices trembling. "Where's the gun?" one officer yells. "Upstairs, to the right," Jennifer cries. Inside the bedroom, Kendra lies half in the hallway, half inside the room, a single gunshot wound to her chest. Kenneth kneels beside her, covered in blood. He's autistic, he shouts. He didn't know what he was doing, but when officers secure the weapon, their unease grows. The gun, a 12-gauge shotgun, lies on the floor beside a pile of ammunition. There are bullets scattered across the room, knives on the dresser, and a plastic bottle filled with live rounds. "This place isn't safe for kids," one officer mutters. There's weapons everywhere. As police begin to separate the family for questioning, the stories start to diverge. Kenneth insists that Greg, his brother-in-law, brought the shotgun over to show him and that Wyatt, the autistic child, grabbed it by accident while they were distracted. Jennifer repeats the same story, almost word for word. Greg, however, tells a very different tale. According to him, he had been asleep in his room when he was jolted awake by the sound of screams. He ran out and found Kendra lying on the floor, Kenneth kneeling beside her, yelling for help. Greg claims he never brought the gun out and had no idea what was going on. "You're lying," the detective tells him. Kenny says you were showing him the shotgun, but Greg stands firm. "Absolutely not," he says. "I swear on my life. I was asleep. That's not my shotgun." The contradictions are glaring. If Greg was asleep, how did his gun end up fired? And why was it loaded? The detectives quickly realize something's wrong. When pressed, Jennifer begins to falter. She changes details about which room the shooting took place in. At first, she says it happened in Kenny's room. Then she insists it was Greg's. Her story keeps shifting as the officers ask for clarification. "We were in Greg's room," she finally says, trying to align with her husband's version. But the officer has already spoken with Kenneth, who swore it happened in his own room. "That's strange," the detective says. "Because your husband said it was your room. Confusion or cover-up, it's hard to tell." The investigation continues into the night. Kenneth and Jennifer are both taken downtown for further questioning. At the station, Kenneth's demeanor changes from panicked to defeated. His voice is quieter, his shoulders hunched. "Your stories don't match," the detective tells him. "You lied about the shotgun, and you lied about where this happened." Kenneth exhales, trembling. "Okay," he mutters. "It happened in my room. Outside my room. She was in the hallway." The detective leans forward. "Whose shotgun was it, Kenneth?" Silence. "It's mine," he finally admits. The lie collapses in an instant. Kenneth explains that he bought the shotgun a few days earlier, illegally, from someone on the street. As a convicted felon, he was barred from owning any firearms, but he ignored the law. He had also hidden several other weapons in the house, all loaded, including a handgun and rifles. When asked why he blamed his autistic stepson, Kenneth lowers his head. "I was scared," he whispers. "I didn't know what else to do," but the detective doesn't let up. "You don't get to pin this on a child who had nothing to do with it," he says coldly. "Your wife already told us the truth. It was you holding the shotgun." Faced with the weight of his own lies, Kenneth breaks down. His voice shakes as he describes what happened. "I was pumping the shotgun," he says. "There's a lever on the side you use to eject shells. I pumped it, but nothing came out. I did it again and again. I thought it was empty. Then, when I pushed it forward the last time, it went off." He insists he never aimed it at his daughter. "I wasn't pointing it at her," he pleads. "It just went off. I dropped it and ran to her. I tried to stop the bleeding. I told Jen to call 911. But Jennifer's account paints a darker picture. She says Kenneth had been teasing Kendra, jokingly pointing the gun toward her as she begged him to put it down. Then came the blast. Forensic evidence backs up parts of both stories. The gun had been handled recently, with Kenneth's fingerprints found on the barrel and trigger. The single shot that killed Kendra was fired from close range, striking her chest and shattering her ribs. 24 pellets tore through her heart, aorta, liver, and lungs. The coroner's report leaves no doubt, death was instantaneous. What it doesn't say is whether Kenneth intended to pull the trigger. In the search that follows, Police uncover 3 other loaded guns hidden around Kenneth's room, as well as drug paraphernalia. The shotgun itself had been reported stolen in Indiana over a year earlier. Jennifer admits they were about to smoke weed when Kenneth started playing with the gun. His 7-year-old daughter later confirms what happened, telling police she saw her dad holding the shotgun before it went off. The innocence in her voice only amplifies the horror of the moment. Kenneth's legal troubles deepen. Already on probation for assault and drug trafficking, he now faces charges of murder, weapons possession under disability, and child endangerment. While waiting to be booked, he claims he swallowed bags of fentanyl and meth in an attempt to avoid jail. The hospital finds no drugs in his system, another lie in a life full of them. Just days before the shooting, a warrant had been issued for his arrest after he failed to check in with his probation officer. He was a wanted man, hiding in plain sight, and no one knew where he was living. The system had already failed Kendra. Her father should never have had access to a gun. He should have been in custody. Instead, he was home, surrounded by weapons, and in that volatile environment, a child paid the ultimate price. When Kenneth finally pleads guilty in April 2025, exactly 1 year after his daughter's death, the judge sentences him to between 23 and 28.5 years in prison for involuntary manslaughter, reckless homicide, and child endangering. In court, he weeps quietly, saying he never meant to hurt Kendra. But for those who knew her, intent doesn't matter. The result is the same. A young girl is gone forever. Greg, the man wrongly blamed in the chaos, is cleared of all charges. Wyatt, the autistic boy who was used as a scapegoat, is placed into foster care. Jennifer, though complicit in the initial lie, avoids prison. The family is shattered beyond repair. A single moment of recklessness destroyed multiple lives. Kendra Farler's story is a haunting reminder of how fragile life can be when guns, addiction, and denial mix together inside a single home. Behind the mask of an ordinary family was a man trying to hide a secret too heavy to carry, one that eventually came to light in the most devastating way possible. In the end, no one won. A daughter was lost, a father imprisoned, and a family broken beyond repair. What do you think really happened? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story shocked you or made you think twice about the world we live in, show your support with a like and make sure you're subscribed to Dark Files Crime Stories for weekly deep dives into real cases that defy belief. Your engagement helps this channel grow and keeps these stories from being forgotten. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, the truth always leaves a trace.